Here we go, guys. So I told you we were gonna do something crazy. Like that. We just need to make the stripe out of that.
Oh, sword.
Yeah. So we're experimenting right now. We really need a high speed, like a grinder with one of these discs on it. Is really what we need. So I may have to run and change up some stuff because a sander. Let me show you guys what a sander does. A sander will work, but watch the difference. Here you go. That's the sander versus something that
all it does is move the paint on top of each other.
yeah, it's just an orbital buffer. You take this and it's immediately going to go ahead and get it. And it gives it a nice kind of shine, which is what we're going to want. We're going to want this thing to kind of shine. So we'll do some thinking on this, try to figure it out. I'm just experimenting today. We're not taking the whole car down. Really, the best thing to do would be chemically strip the car and then come in with something like this, or even at that point you could use a sander. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. So let's play around with this fender and see what it looks like. I'll tell you at the end of the video what we're going to call this car, and I think it's going to make sense. John's pretty cool name. We're just sanding it and then grinding it down. So this car will be all metal and clear coated, just like this. See the swirls in it? That's what we want. We don't want a completely smooth car. Also don't want the car to rust, so we don't want it to flash rust. A little here, a little there, no big deal. So this car's gonna have to stay inside until we get done. Honestly, it shouldn't take any more than 2 days to do this, to get it completed. Maybe 3 or 4 days, honestly, because I won't have the help to do it. But check it out though. What do you guys think? Something different, right? Something unique. We're gonna clear coat it, and we're gonna put the trim back on this thing. We're gonna paint the bumpers to match. I say paint to match, but whatever we feel like color-wise would best match this thing once we get done. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love the way the old Poop Coupe looked over here, but it's just time to change it up. We got to do something different. So this is a high-speed buffer with 80 grit on it. So what we're doing here is basically taking the paint off as much as we can first. Our sandpaper is completely worn out, but that's what we're doing first. We're getting it down, you know, most of the paint off, and then we're coming back in with a flat disc and just working this thing. Look how quickly, I say quickly, it's not gonna look like it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not too bad. But watch how quick this goes. That's the good thing about it, is you really don't have to worry about anything, right? That's how quickly this is gonna go. Look at it. Ooh, that is a picture right there.
Look at it. Look at it this way.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and work on this thing some more. I'll give you some updates as time goes on. I think it's gonna be ridiculous. Hope you guys like it. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, y'all. Back at it with another custom cowl hood. Now this one's gonna be real rough, and I want to kind of show you guys what it takes to do this. So I didn't video earlier. I've got something in here propping this thing up, but all you got to do is come in with a grinder, cut this thing out, find something to lift it up with to the height you want. You want to come in, lay yourself a piece of metal in here like this. Lay it in here. So once you get your metal laid up, obviously it's going to be too tall. Then you just want to come in from this side and mark it, then cut it. Once you cut it, it should be really close to fitting. Kind of like this. We'll obviously have to pull this thing down, but it'll fit kind of like that. Just get in, start welding it up, y'all. I didn't have a long enough piece, so I'm just going to do it in 2 sections. Once we weld this up, I'll come in, slide a piece in there, mark it, drop it down in there, weld it. So not really much to show you guys. These things are really easy to do. Now to make look right, they're not so easy. This thing's looking pretty sweet, y'all. We will get all the red off of it. I did play around with kind of the gray, like what it might look like. Let me give you guys kind of an idea. It'll be a lighter gray than this, but it'll all be cut in real nice and tight. There's some overspray there, but just trying to kind of get an idea of what the car might look like, and that's roughly it. So anyway, that's it. We're gonna go ahead, start welding this thing up. This didn't work out as good as I'd hoped. It started out really good down here on the first piece. The second piece was really too tight, and I should have done this first. I don't know if I mentioned it already in the video. I should have put this in first. Either way, though, it doesn't really matter because this is supposed to be rough, and this thing's going to be sanded all down. Just a quick little job. Literally, guys, you can do this and give yourself, I don't know, 3 hours, and you can do something like this. We're not worried about the hood being perfectly straight. As you can see, it's got dents and stuff in it, but that's perfectly fine with us. Anyway, here's the hood. We're gonna grind it out a little bit right here, kind of somewhat smooth it out. But yeah, this thing will be taken down to bare metal as well. It's gonna go on the old Poop Coupe. So I don't know if I showed you guys this last night. I can't remember what I videoed. I was trying to kind of give you an idea of what it might look like with just the gray there. So I'll show you guys again if I did show you. You know, take away the hood, let's see, something like that, right? It's kind of what this thing's gonna look like, just with a lighter gray, and obviously finished out really nice. But this thing completely changes as you walk around it. Well, in the sunlight at least, it starts to swirl up and everything else. Perfect or anything, but that's kind of an idea of what it looks like after it's ground down. I gotta finish welding up some stuff, but it's got a big dent in it here and some other stuff. We are back at it on the Poop Coupe, aka whatever we're gonna call this thing. All right, so here's what we're doing with the car. Probably doesn't look a lot different to you, but trust me, there is a huge difference in this thing. And I'll take you around to the other side and show you. So now all the paint's been stripped off the car. I mean, sure, there's probably a spot or two here and there, and I do have to go in the cracks and crevices, but what you're seeing now is a fully stripped body. And what this will allow us to do is put a design on the car. Right now, it just looks like a really bad silver paint job, so I don't want it to look like that. But up close, you can see the car is stripped down really good. And this thing's full of dents too, you know, by the way. We're not obviously trying to fix any of that. You can't in what we're doing. But that's that. So let me show you the tool that I'm using now. I went to Harbor Freight and picked up one of these things. And it's like a metal conditioning tool, reconditioning tool. And this thing's about worn out already on one side of the car. So I wanted to go back and grab another, I guess. But this works really good. So I'll set you up real quick so that you can see how this thing works. everything looks a lot more uniform, right? There's no way to make this thing perfect unless you just, drug it one direction, and you could do that. But there's no way to make this uniform because of all the curves and everything else. So I'll kind of do my best, and then I'm going to come in afterwards and swirl it up. Whew, a lot of work left to do. I've got one side done, and now I've just got to do this side. This part right here is really the only real bad section. The rest of it doesn't have a lot of paint on it. But anyway, I'm gonna jump back on this, guys, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get done, and then we'll start the swirling process and then the cleanup of all the corners and everything else. Push the somas out so you can see it change as it goes by. It's gonna be awesome, y'all. The video here, show them back here on the deck lid. So I'm going to leave the deck lid non-swirled, and I'm going to engrave all the names in the deck lid. So I think that'll be kind of cool. And I'll just come in and weld these up at some point. But I do have to get some clear coat on this car pretty quick. The deck lid, I may not clear it. I may leave it so that I can engrave it. I don't mind a little bit of rust. I just don't want the car to completely rust. But anyway, this is a good, cheap option for you guys that maybe don't have a lot of money, don't have the skill set to paint a car. If you want something different, and maybe it's kind of like a junker like this, here's you an option. So with that being said, stay tuned though, because we are going to clear coat this thing and really take it to the next level with all new trim and stuff like that. But for now, we're going to wrap it up. And as always, thanks for watching.